the cold metal floors of orbital station Kepler. 7 hummed with the sound of failing life support systems. Maya chin pressed her thin frame against the wall as a group of Zilirian traders passed by, their scaled skin shimmering under the flickering overhead lights. They didn't look at her. They never did. To them, humans were just another broken species cluttering the edges of civilized space. Maya's stomach cramped with hunger. 3 days. It had been 3 days since she last ate. Her weekly ration pack sat hidden in her quarters, but she couldn't bring herself to open it. The Morrison family in Section C had 4 children. The youngest was only 6. They needed it more than she did. She made her way to the waste reclamation facility, where she worked. The job was simple but exhausting. Sort through the garbage, separate anything valuable, and compress the rest into disposal cubes. Most species threw away more food in a day than humans saw in a week. Sometimes Maya found half-eaten meals in the bins. She never told anyone when she did. The station hadn't always been like this. Before the war, before her tried to resist the Zilirian expansion, her parents told her stories of hope. They said humans would find their place among the stars. Then the warships came. Earth surrendered after 6 months. The Galactic Council labeled humanity as Class 7 primitives, barely worth acknowledging. Her parents didn't survive the bombardment of New Seattle. Now Maya was alone, one of 15,000 humans living on a station built for 5,000. The council sent food shipments when they remembered. It was never enough. Attention, all station residents. The announcement crackled through the old speakers. Lord Cathus Valterra of the Zilirian High Command will be conducting an inspection tour today. All workers must remain at their stations. Show proper respect to your betters. Maya felt her jaw tighten. Inspection tours were just entertainment for bored nobles. They walked through, pointed at the poor humans, made jokes, and left. Nothing ever changed. She continued sorting through the waste, her hands moving automatically. Plastic here, metal there, organic matter in the 3rd bin. Her vision blurred slightly. She hadn't slept well either. The heating in her section was broken again. The door to the facility hissed open. Maya looked up to see a tall Zilirian enter, followed by 6 guards in ceremonial armor. His scales were deep purple, a sign of high nobility. Golden markings traced patterns across his face and neck. His robes looked like they cost more than every possession on the station combined. Lord Cathus Valterra surveyed the room with obvious disgust. His eyes passed over Maya like she was part of the machinery. This is where the humans work. His voice carried across the room, speaking in perfect galactic standard. I've seen cleaner prison colonies. His guards laughed. One of them gestured toward Maya. Look at that one, my lord. It can barely stand. Maya tried to focus on her work, but the room was spinning now. She grabbed the edge of the sorting table. Just a few more hours. She could make it. Lord Cathus walked closer, his boots clicking on the metal floor. These creatures claimed they deserved a seat at the council table. Look at them now. Pathetic. He turned to his guards. Make a note in my report. Humans lack the basic dignity required for civilized society. They wallow in their own filth like animals. Something hot flashed through Maya's chest. Not anger exactly. She was too tired for anger. It was something else. Disappointment, maybe. The universe was so vast, filled with thousands of intelligent species, and yet cruelty was universal. She opened her mouth to speak, to say something, anything, but the room tilted suddenly. Her legs gave out. The last thing she saw before hitting the ground was Lord Cathus's face, twisted in amusement. Did you see that? His laughter echoed through the facility. It simply collapsed. These humans are too weak to even stand properly. How did such a feeble species ever think they could resist the Empire? Maya's consciousness faded as she heard more laughter. Strong hands lifted her eventually. Human hands. Someone was carrying her to the medical bay. She heard whispers, concerned voices, but they seemed far away, in the darkness behind her closed eyes. Maya thought about the nutrition pack hidden in her quarters. She thought about the Morrison children. She thought about Earth, a planet she barely remembered. And she thought about Lord Cathus Valterra. laughing at a starving girl who collapsed from hunger. The universe was vast and cold. But somewhere in that darkness, Maya held on to something the Zilliarians had lost long ago. She just didn't know it would save them all. Maya woke up in the medical bay with Dr. Okafor standing over her. The old man looked tired, but then again, everyone on the station looked tired. "You need to eat, Maya," he said, pressing a nutrition pack into her hands. "This is your ration for the week. Please, actually consume it this time." Maya held the silver package. It was small, about the size of her palm, but it contained enough calories to keep her alive for 7 days. She nodded, not meeting his eyes. They both knew she would probably give most of it away. "I mean it, child. You can't help anyone if you're dead." She slipped the pack into her pocket and left the medical bay. Her shift was over, but she couldn't go back to her quarters yet. The station needed constant maintenance, and someone had to check the lower levels where the oxygen recyclers were housed. The lower levels were dangerous. Most of the original crew had abandoned them when the system started failing. But Maya had spent 2 years learning every tunnel, every passage, every shortcut. Down here, she could move through spaces where even the maintenance robots couldn't reach. She was checking a coolant valve when she heard it. A voice, distant and angry, shouting in Zilliarian. Maya froze. No one came down to the lower levels. It was too risky. She followed the sound to a narrow maintenance tunnel, crawling on her hands and knees. The voice grew louder. When she emerged into a larger corridor, she saw him. Lord Cathus Valteris on the ground, his expensive robes torn and dirty. His leg was bent at an odd angle, and a piece of metal debris pinned his left arm. His hover platform lay in pieces around him, sparking and smoking. He looked up as Maya approached. For a moment, neither spoke. "You," he said finally, his voice filled with venom. "The weak one who collapsed. Perfect. Another useless human." Maya studied the situation. The corridor was unstable. Part of the ceiling had collapsed, and she could hear the groan of metal under stress. His communicator lay shattered nearby. "Your guards?" she asked. "They went for help. That was 4 hours ago." He grimaced in pain. The hover platform malfunctioned and crashed through 2 floors. "I doubt they can find their way down here. This section isn't on any official maps." Maya knew he was right. The lower levels had been modified so many times that even the original blueprints were useless. She was probably the only person on the station who could navigate them reliably. "Help me," Cathus demanded. "Do it now, human. When I get out of here, I'll have you arrested if you don't assist me immediately." Maya knelt down and examined the debris pinning his arm. She could move it, but it would hurt. A lot. She looked at his injured leg. Broken, definitely. He couldn't walk. "I can get you out," she said quietly. "But we have to move through the maintenance tunnels. It's the only safe path. The main corridors in this section are compromised." "Then do it." Maya pulled a nutrition pack from her pocket. She opened it and broke off half. The gel inside was bland and gray, but would provide immediate energy. She held it out to Cathus. He stared at her like she had grown a second head. "What are you doing?" "You need to eat. The tunnels are difficult. You need strength." "I don't want your disgusting human food. I can survive for weeks without sustenance." "But you're hungry now," Maya said simply. She took a small bite of her half, then offered his portion again. "And I won't let anyone suffer from hunger if I can help it. Not even you." Cathus looked at the food, then at Maya's face. Something shifted in his expression. Confusion, perhaps, or shock. In Zilliarian culture, sharing food was sacred. It was something done only between family members or equals. It created a bond that transcended law and status. And here was this starving human girl, this creature he had mocked just hours ago, offering him her last meal. "Why?" The word came out as a whisper. "I laughed at you. I called your species pathetic." Maya shrugged. "You're hurt and hungry. That's reason enough." She placed the food in his free hand. Slowly, almost mechanically, Cathus ate it. The gel tasted strange to his Zilliarian palate, but it was warm and filling. Maya ate her portion too, feeling strength return to her limbs. Then she stood and began working to free his arm from the debris. When we get out of here, Kathis said quietly, I will repay this debt. By the blood of my ancestors, I swear it. Maya smiled sadly. You don't owe me anything. This is just what humans do. But in that moment, something changed in Lord Kathis Valterra, and the entire galaxy would feel the consequences. Maya worked carefully to lift the metal debris from Kathis's arm. The Xelerian noble gritted his teeth as the pressure released, but he didn't cry out. She respected that. Pain was universal, but dignity and suffering was a choice. Can you move your fingers? She asked. Kathis flexed his hands slowly. Yes. Bruised, but not broken. Good. Now comes the hard part. Maya looked at the corridor ahead. We need to go through the maintenance tunnels. They're narrow. You'll have to crawl. Crawl. Kathis looked offended. I am a lord of the Xelerian High Command. I don't crawl. Then you'll die here, Maya said without emotion. Your choice. The ceiling groaned above them. Dust fell from cracks in the metal plating. Kathis looked up, then back at Maya. He nodded. She helped him stand, letting him lean on her despite her own weakness. He was heavy, and his broken leg dragged uselessly. Together, they limped toward the tunnel entrance. The tunnel was barely wide enough for Maya. For Kathis, with his broader Xelerian frame, it was torture. He had to squeeze through, pulling himself forward with his good arm, while Maya guided his movements from ahead. Left here, she called back. Watch for the sharp edge on the right side. How do you know these paths? Kathis grunted, pain clear in his voice. I've lived here for 3 years. When you have nothing else, you learn your environment. Every tunnel, every pipe, every weak point. She paused at a junction. Humans are good at adapting. It's how we survived on Earth. Earth, Kathis repeated. A death world by Galactic Council standards. Class, 9 hazard rating. It was our home. They crawled in silence for a while. Then Kathis spoke again. Why do you help each other? I've seen it. Humans sharing rations when they're starving. Humans giving shelter when they have none themselves. It makes no logical sense. Maya stopped at a vertical shaft. She examined the ladder rungs, testing each one. You wouldn't understand. Try me? She looked back at him, her face dirty and tired in the dim emergency lighting. Because we're all we have left. The galaxy sees us as primitives. The council treats us like pets. But we see each other as family. Every human on this station has lost someone. We've all suffered. So we take care of each other, because no one else will. Kathis was quiet for a long moment. In Xelerian society, we have a saying, strength flows upward, weakness flows down. The strong take from the weak. That's natural law. That's not law, Maya said. That's just cruelty with a fancy name. She started climbing the ladder. Kathis followed, using only his arms to pull himself up. Each rung was agony with his injuries, but Maya's words echoed in his mind. Halfway up, a rung broke under Maya's weight. She fell, but Kathis caught her with his good arm, holding her against the ladder even as pain shot through his body. Careful, he said. Maya looked at him with surprise. Thank you. You saved my life. The least I can do is prevent you from falling. They continued upward. At the top, they emerged into a maintenance room that connected to the main station levels. Maya could hear voices in the distance. The search parties. Before they went further, Kathis grabbed her shoulder. Wait. He pulled a small ceremonial blade from his belt with his good hand. He drew it across his palm, letting purple blood well up. Then he held the blade out to Maya. What are you doing? She asked. A blood oath. In my culture, it's the highest vow. It cannot be broken, not even by death. His eyes met hers. You showed me something today. You showed me that strength isn't about taking from others. It's about giving when you have nothing left to give. He pressed his bleeding palm to his chest, then extended it toward her. I vow, by the blood of my ancestors and the honor of my house, to repay this debt. I will not rest until humanity is given the respect it deserves. I will fight for your people as you fought to save me. Maya stared at him. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do, because you're right. What we call natural law is just cruelty, and I've been cruel long enough. He cut his palm again, letting more blood flow. Will you accept my vow? Maya didn't fully understand what this meant in Zilirian culture, but she saw the sincerity in his eyes. She nodded. Cathis placed his bloodied hand over his heart. Then it is done. From this day forward, your enemies are my enemies. Your struggles are my struggles. On my honor, I swear it. The voices grew louder. Help was coming. But in that maintenance room, something greater than rescue had occurred. A lord had bowed to a starving girl, and the universe would never be the same. 3 weeks after the rescue, Maya barely recognized Orbital Station Kepler 7. Food shipments arrived daily now, not monthly. The medical bay had new equipment. The heating systems were being repaired section by section, and it was all because of Lord Cathis Valterra. He had remained on the station, claiming he needed to oversee the improvements personally. His family sent angry messages. The Zilirian High Command demanded his return. He ignored them all. Maya found him in the station's central hub, arguing with a supply contractor over the quality of the food shipments. This is animal feed, Cathis said, holding up a standard ration pack. I want proper nutrition. Fruits, vegetables, proteins. The humans deserve real food. The contractor, a slug-like Drenathy, wobbled nervously. But Lord Valterra, that would triple the cost. For primitives, the council won't approve the expense. Then I'll pay for it myself. Cathis transferred credits from his personal account. The contractor's eyes widened at the amount. And if you try to cheat me by delivering inferior products, I'll have your trading license revoked. Am I clear? The Drenathy left quickly. Cathis turned and saw Maya watching. You're spending your own money, she said. I made a vow. He walked toward her, his legs still in a healing brace. Besides, I've been reading about Earth. Did you know your species survived ice ages, plagues, and wars that would have destroyed most civilizations? And you did it without advanced technology. Maya smiled slightly. We're stubborn. No, you're remarkable. Cathis pulled out a data pad. I've been studying human history, your literature, your philosophy, your art. There's a human named Viktor Frankl who wrote about finding meaning in suffering, and another, Maya Angelou, who wrote about rising despite being pushed down. He paused. You were named after her, weren't you? My mother loved her poetry. Your mother had good taste. Cathis scrolled through his notes. I spent my entire life believing Zilirian culture was superior, but we've lost something important. We've forgotten how to care for those weaker than us. We've forgotten compassion. Over the following weeks, word of Cathis's actions spread to the Galactic Council networks. Other nobles mocked him. They called him the human lover and the shame of House Valterra. Some species became curious, though. If a Zilirian lord could change his mind about humans, perhaps they were worth a second look. A delegation of Zenthri merchants arrived at the station. They watched humans working together, sharing resources, helping each other. One merchant approached Maya. Is it true? The Zenthri asked. You gave your last meal to Lord Cathis when he mocked your people? Yes. Why? Maya thought about the question. Because kindness shouldn't depend on whether someone deserves it. It should be given freely, especially to those who need it most. The Zenthri made a chittering sound, their version of laughter. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. No wonder the Lord is obsessed. But not everyone was pleased. The Zilirian High Command sent an official order. Lord Cathis was to cease his embarrassing charity work immediately and return home. He was damaging the Empire's reputation. Cathis read the order in front of Maya, Dr. Okafor, and several other station leaders. Then he tore it up. I took a blood oath, he said simply. Even the High Command cannot override that. It's sacred law, older than the Empire itself. They'll take your title, Dr. Okafor warned. Your family's honor. Let them try. Cathis looked at Maya. I told you I would fight for humanity. I meant it. Maya stood up. She had been thinking about this for days. Cathis, I'm grateful for everything you've done, but we don't want charity. We want to be treated as equals. What do you mean? The food, the supplies, the repairs, they're wonderful, but they're temporary. When you leave, when the council forgets about us again, we'll be back where we started. She looked around the room at the other humans. We need more than help. We need a voice. We need humanity to be recognized as a real species, not pets to be pitted. Cathus nodded slowly. You want a seat at the council table. We want a chance to prove ourselves. Give us contracts, not handouts. Give us opportunities to trade, to work, to contribute. Let us show the galaxy what humans can do. A smile spread across Cathus's face. Now you're thinking like a leader. I'm not a leader. I'm just a girl who sorts garbage. No, Cathus said firmly. You're the human who taught a Xelerian lord about honor. And if I have anything to say about it, you'll be the first human ambassador to the Galactic Council. Maya laughed. That's impossible. 3 weeks ago, a Xelerian lord making a blood oath to a human was impossible. Now look at us. Cathus stood tall despite his injuries. Let's make the impossible happen again. The Galactic Council chamber was the largest room Maya had ever seen. Thousands of seats rose in circular tiers, each filled with representatives from different species. The air hummed with translation devices converting hundreds of languages simultaneously. Maya stood in the center, feeling very small. She wore simple clothes, the best the station could provide, but they looked poor compared to the ornate robes and armor around her. Beside her stood Lord Cathus, his purple scales polished, his ceremonial sword at his side. The council speaker, an ancient Vextari with silver skin and 4 arms, called for silence. We gather today to address the human question. Lord Cathus Valterra has requested humanity be elevated from Class 7 to Class 4 status. This would grant them rights to trade, representation, and protection under council law. Murmurs filled the chamber. A Xelerian admiral stood, his scales dark red with anger. This is madness. Humans are a defeated species. They lost their war. They have no technology, no resources, no power. Why should we reward failure? Because they have something we've forgotten, Cathus said, his voice carrying through the chamber. They have dignity in the face of suffering. They have compassion when they have nothing else. Compassion? The admiral laughed. Compassion doesn't build ships. It doesn't win wars. It doesn't advance civilization. No, Cathus agreed, but it builds something more important. It builds character. The speaker raised one hand. Lord Valterra, you have brought the human girl, Maya Chun, to testify. Let her speak. Maya's heart pounded. Every eye in the chamber turned to her. She thought about running, but then she remembered the Morrison children. She remembered Dr. Okafor working endless hours with broken equipment. She remembered every human on Kepler, 7 who survived on hope alone. She stepped forward. I'm not going to beg, she said, her voice steady. I'm not going to plead for mercy or pity. Humans have had enough pity. The chamber went quiet. You call us primitives. You say we're weak because we lost a war. But let me tell you about weakness. Maya looked around at the assembled aliens. Weakness is having everything and still needing more. Weakness is having power and using it to hurt others. Weakness is seeing suffering and looking away because it's convenient. A few species shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Humans come from Earth. You know it as a death world. Gravity that crushes bones. Weather that kills. Diseases that spread like fire. We had no natural armor, no claws, no venom. We should have died out millions of years ago. She paused. But we didn't. We learned. We adapted. We survived. Survival isn't civilization, the Xelerian admiral interrupted. You're right, Maya said. But what we did next is, we looked at our harsh world, and we didn't just survive it. We thrived. We created art and music. We built cities and ships. We reached for the stars even when everyone said it was impossible. And when we met you, when we saw the galaxy for the first time, we weren't afraid. We were hopeful. She felt tears threatening but pushed them back. You destroyed our hope. You bombed our cities, killed millions, and then called it mercy when you let the rest of us live. You put us on stations like Kepler, 7, and forgot about us. You gave us just enough to survive, but not enough to live. And yet you endured, Cathus said softly. We endured because that's what humans do. We fall down and get back up. We lose everything and find reasons to keep going. We face the impossible and say, not today. Maya's voice grew stronger. You want to know why you should give us a chance? Because we'll never stop fighting. Not for dominance, not for power, but for the simple right to exist with dignity. The speaker leaned forward. And if we grant you this status, what will humanity do with it? Maya thought about her answer carefully. We'll prove that compassion and strength aren't opposites. We'll show that helping others doesn't make you weak. We'll trade fairly, work hard, and contribute to the galaxy. And maybe, just maybe, we'll remind you all that civilization isn't measured by how high you rise, but by how you treat those below you. The chamber erupted in discussion. Species argued in dozens of languages. The vote took 3 hours. When it was done, the speaker announced the results. By a margin of 62%, the Council grants humanity class for provisional status. Earth will receive reconstruction assistance. Humans may trade and travel freely. This decision is final. Maya's legs nearly gave out. Cathus caught her arm, steadying her. You did it, he whispered. We did it, she corrected. 5 years later, Maya stood on a newly built orbital platform above Earth. The planet below showed green continents and blue oceans. Cities sparkled in the night. Ships came and went, carrying human goods to 100 worlds. Cathus stood beside her, older now, but still her closest friend. Do you remember what you said? Maya asked, when I offered you that nutrition pack, I asked why you would sacrifice for someone who mocked you, and I said it was because you were hungry. That was reason enough. She smiled. I still believe that. Kindness doesn't need a reason. It just needs to be given. Cathus nodded. You saved more than my life that day, Maya. You saved my soul. You showed me that true strength isn't about taking from others. It's about giving when you have nothing left. Below them, Earth turned slowly in space. A world that had died was alive again. A species that had been broken was whole. And it all started because a starving girl offered her last meal to someone who called her weak. Thank you, Cathus said quietly. Maya shook her head. No, thank you. You kept your vow. We kept it together. They stood in comfortable silence, watching humanity's homeworld heal. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans could be defeated in war, but they could never be broken in spirit. And that spirit, that refusal to surrender their compassion even in darkness, was what made them truly dangerous. Not because they would conquer the stars, but because they would teach the stars to care again.